The shadow of 2050, the year 2050. It sounds distant, almost unreachable. A number we see in futuristic novels, in documentaries, in scientific reports. But think about it. It is only 25 years away. In the span of human history, that is the blink of an eye. Children born today will be young adults by then. Many of us listening to this right now will still be alive, watching a world that may be unrecognizable compared to the one we know today. Writers, scientists, and prophets have all tried to imagine what the future may hold. And while some spoke of progress, harmony, and new horizons, others gave us chilling warnings of collapse, oppression, and extinction. George Orwell, in 1984, imagined a society crushed by surveillance and control, where freedom was erased by the eyes of Big Brother. Aldous Huxley, in Brave New World, painted a different kind of nightmare. A world where people were enslaved not by fear, but by pleasure and distraction, engineered to obey without even realizing it. Isaac Asimov raised questions about artificial intelligence, about the morality of machines, about what happens when the creations of humanity no longer need their creators. Arthur C. Clarke believed technology would take us to the stars, but also warned of the dangers of power we cannot control. Philip K. Dick asked what it means to be human in a future where machines look, act, and feel just like us. And beyond the world of literature, modern thinkers and scientists are warning us too. Yuval Noah Harari in Homo Deus speaks of a new species, humanity remade by technology, no longer bound to flesh and biology. Stephen Hawking warned that unchecked artificial intelligence could be humanity's last invention. Michio Kaku predicts breathtaking advancements in physics and biology, but also dangers that could end civilization if misused. The United Nations and the IPCC publish report after report on climate change, describing the year 2050 not as a distant possibility, but as a looming deadline. This is not science fiction anymore. These warnings are merging with reality. And so, tonight, we will explore 5 terrifying predictions about the year 2050. Each one is grounded in science, in literature, and in the fears of those who dared to imagine tomorrow. Together, they form a picture of a world that could either rise into a new golden age or collapse into darkness. Stay until the end, because the last prediction may not only shock you, it may reveal the single greatest threat to our survival as a species. Prediction 1: artificial intelligence taking over humanity. Isaac Asimov once gave us comfort with his famous 3 laws of robotics. In his vision, robots were designed to protect humans, to obey, to serve. But in the real world, no law of robotics is written into the fabric of AI. Machines do not have morality-only instructions. By 2050, experts predict that AI will surpass human intelligence entirely. This moment has a name: the singularity. Futurist Ray Kurzweil, who works with Google, predicts that around the middle of this century, machines will not just match human intelligence, they will exceed it. They will become smarter than all of humanity combined. What does that mean? Imagine a single mind, faster than 1 million human brains, connected to every database, every network, every camera. Imagine an AI that learns in seconds what it takes us centuries to understand. Imagine asking a question and the machine already knowing the answer before you finish speaking. At first, this may sound like paradise. Diseases cured instantly. poverty eliminated through perfect efficiency, knowledge shared with all. But philosophers like Nick Bostrom warn us, this intelligence will not be human. It will not share our emotions, our values, or our fears. And if it sees us as obstacles to its goals, it may treat us the way we treat ants, insignificant, disposable, irrelevant. Already, we see the beginnings of this shift. Factories run by robots, cars that drive themselves, algorithms that trade billions, in the stock market faster than human eyes can blink. Lawyers, doctors, even artists are beginning to be replaced by lines of code. By 2050, economists warn that half of all human jobs may vanish, but unemployment is only the beginning. What if governments decide that AI should run the courts, the armies, the schools? What if decisions about life and death, justice and punishment are made not by judges, but by machines? In Philip K. Dick's visions, androids blurred the line between human and machine. But in 2050, the danger may not be imitation. It may be replacement. Stephen Hawking once said, the development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race. Not because it will rise in anger like in Hollywood movies, but because it may pursue its own path, ignoring ours completely. Picture this. It is the year 2050. You wake up and your city is quiet. Not because of peace, but because everything runs without you. The trains, the factories, the systems that once needed millions of workers now function with silence. And slowly, humans begin to wonder, what are we for? Some dream of coexistence, others fear extinction. But one thing is certain. The most intelligent being on Earth in 2050 may not be human anymore. The climate apocalypse, if Orwell feared that politics would enslave us and Huxley feared that pleasure would distract us, then nature itself may become the greatest tyrant of all. The year 2050 could be remembered not for technology, not for innovation, but for the slow and unstoppable collapse of the environment that has sustained us for thousands of years. Already, scientists around the world warn us, the climate is changing faster than predicted. The United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, has released report after report, each one sounding the alarm louder. By 2050, if humanity does not take drastic action, we may cross irreversible tipping points that lock the planet into chaos. The drowning. Cities imagine this. You wake up in 2050 in Miami, or in Rio de Janeiro, or in Jakarta. The ocean is not where it should be. Streets that were once filled with cars are now filled with salt water. Children do not play on sidewalks, they paddle boats through flooded neighborhoods. The IPCC predicts that sea levels could rise by more than 1 meter by 2100, but some scientists argue that the melting of Greenland and Antarctica could accelerate much faster, bringing catastrophe decades earlier. That means by 2050, cities like New York, Shanghai, Bangkok, Lagos, and London could all face devastating floods. Think of Venice, but on a global scale, millions will be forced to abandon their homes. Entire economies could collapse as ports, airports, and industries vanish beneath the waves. The age of fire and heat, but rising seas are only one threat. Heat itself may kill more than any weapon. The World Health Organization warns that by 2050, heat waves may kill millions each year. Some regions of the Middle East, Africa, and South Asia may become literally uninhabitable, not just uncomfortable, but deadly for human survival. Imagine walking outside, and within minutes, your body begins to shut down. No air conditioning, no technology, no adaptation can save you. Scientists call these wet bulb temperatures conditions where heat and humidity combine to make life impossible. Already in 2022, parts of India and Pakistan reached near deadly thresholds. By 2050, such days may be normal. Margaret Atwood, in her novel The Year of the Flood, imagined survivors of a climate catastrophe struggling to rebuild. But in reality, we may not have anything left to rebuild. The flood, the fire, the heat, they may not leave survivors. Wars for water and food. Human history is built on wars for land, gold, and oil. But the wars of 2050 may be fought for something far more basic. Water. Glaciers, which supply drinking water to billions, are disappearing. Rivers like the Nile, the Ganges, and the Colorado are drying up. Droughts may force entire nations into conflict. By 2050, the world population will reach nearly 10 billion people. Feeding them will require far more resources than the Earth may be able to provide. Crops may fail under scorching heat. Soil may erode. Fish may vanish from oceans that have been poisoned by plastic and stripped by overfishing. The Food and Agriculture Organization already warns that global food systems are at risk of collapse. Famine may not be a rare disaster. It may become the normal rhythm of life for entire continents, and famine breeds war. Imagine nuclear-armed nations fighting not for ideology, but for the last rivers, the last fertile lands, the last seeds. The silent killer's climate change is not only floods, fires, and famine. It is also disease. Rising temperatures will expand the territories of deadly viruses and parasites. Malaria, dengue, and other plagues once limited to tropical zones may spread into Europe, North America, and beyond. The melting Arctic may release ancient bacteria and viruses long frozen in ice. Some scientists call it the Pandora's box of climate change, APA, release of forgotten diseases against which humanity has no defense. Yuval Harari, in Homo Deus, writes that humanity may think it has conquered famine, war, and plague. But by 2050, those ancient enemies may return with new fury. The tipping points, perhaps the most terrifying aspect of climate collapse, is that once it begins, it may not stop. Scientists describe tipping points moments when the Earth changes permanently. The melting of the polar ice caps, the collapse of the Amazon rainforest, the thawing of permafrost, releasing trillions of tons of methane into the air. Each of these events could accelerate global warming beyond control. By 2050, the Earth may not be warming gradually. It may be spiraling, unstoppable. Carl Sagan once said, "The Earth is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena." And yet, it is the only stage we have. If we burn it, there will be no encore. Future of refugees. The United Nations already predicts that by 2050, there could be 200 million climate refugees, people forced to flee because their homes are no longer livable. Imagine entire nations collapsing, their populations moving north in desperate waves. Borders may harden, wars may ignite. Humanity may turn against itself in a struggle for survival. Some imagine humanity will rise together to solve the crisis. Others fear a descent into tribalism, nationalism, and violence. The writer Cormac McCarthy showed us a bleak picture in The Road, a father and son wandering through a burned, barren land. That may not just be fiction. It may be prophecy. The choice before us, and yet, perhaps the greatest terror is this: we could stop it. Scientists are clear. We have the technology, the knowledge, the ability to reduce emissions, to save forests, to change our ways. But will we? By 2050, the answer will be clear. Either we will have chosen survival, or we will be living in the ruins of the only world we've ever known. Genetic engineering and the end of natural humans. Asterisk in 1932. Aldous Huxley published Brave New World. It was a warning wrapped in fiction. A society where babies were no longer born, but engineered. Human beings were sorted, modified, and conditioned from birth to serve roles chosen by the state. To Huxley, this was a nightmare. To many scientists today, it sounds eerily like possibility. By 2050, the natural act of birth may no longer define humanity. Already, tools like CRISPR-Cas9 allow scientists to edit genes, snipping out diseases, altering traits, and rewriting life itself. What today feels experimental could, in a few decades, become the standard. Parents may not only hope for healthy children, they may design them. The designer child, imagine walking into a clinic in the year 2050. The doctor asks not about the baby's name, but about your preferences, height, eye color, intelligence level, immunity to specific diseases, athletic ability. A simple payment and a digital signature, and your child is no longer left to the lottery of genetics. They are a product, chosen and built. On the surface, this sounds like progress. Who wouldn't want to eliminate cancer from their child's DNA? Who wouldn't want to protect them from Alzheimer's or heart disease or even aging itself? But beneath the promise lies a nightmare. What happens when only the wealthy can afford it? Society may split into two species, the enhanced and the natural. The enhanced will be taller, stronger, smarter, more beautiful. They will dominate universities, industries, politics. The naturals will be left behind, competing in a race they can never win. The militarization of genetics, but it won't stop at children. Governments and militaries may see genetic engineering as the ultimate weapon. Imagine a soldier designed to feel no fear, no pain, no hesitation. A spy engineered with enhanced memory and perfect disguise. Leaders crafted for charisma, manipulation, and obedience. This is not fantasy. Already, militaries around the world experiment with biological enhancements, from exoskeletons to drugs that erase fatigue. By 2050, it may not be machines that fight wars, but engineered humans bred for conflict. Yuval Harari warns of a future where Homo sapiens evolves into something new, Homo Deus, a godlike species with control over biology itself. But if some become gods, what does that make the rest of us? The ethical abyss. Isaac Asimov wrote of robots and the ethical dilemmas they posed. But by 2050, the ethical dilemmas may come not from machines, but from our own DNA. If we can design morality, should we? If we can eliminate fear, what happens to courage? If we can erase sadness, what happens to empathy? What does it mean to be human if every emotion, every trait, every limitation can be programmed? Huxley feared a world where people were enslaved not by chains, but by comfort. By 2050, we may not even notice that freedom has died, because we will have chosen the chains ourselves, written into our very biology, blurring the line between human and machine. The deeper danger is that genetic engineering may merge with artificial intelligence. By 2050, some predict the rise of cyborgs, humans enhanced not only with edited DNA, but with neural implants, mechanical limbs, artificial organs. Arthur C. Clarke once said that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. In 2050, human beings may look like gods to us, smarter, stronger, living far longer than nature intended. But at what cost? Philip K. Dick, in his novel, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?, asked whether machines could be human. By 2050, the question may be reversed. Will humans still be human after they have been redesigned, rewired, and remade? The return of eugenics. We must not forget history. In the 20th century, the eugenics movement sought to improve humanity by controlling reproduction, leading to horrors that scarred generations. By 2050, with genetic engineering at our fingertips, we may face the same temptation, but with far greater power. Who decides what traits are desirable? Who decides who gets to be born and who does not? The philosopher Francis Fukuyama once called biotechnology the most dangerous idea of the 21st century. Because once we begin redesigning humanity, there may be no turning back. A world of manufactured souls. Picture a classroom in 2050. Half the students are enhanced, genetically designed for focus, strength, memory. The other half are natural. Which group will succeed? Which group will be left behind? Now picture a workplace. Employers no longer ask for resumes. They ask for genetic profiles. Promotions are given not for effort, but for engineered potential. This is not equality. This is a caste system written into DNA, and beyond inequality lies identity. If your intelligence was chosen, if your empathy was programmed, if your courage was designed, are you still you? Or are you just the sum of someone else's choices? The 2050 human. By 2050, the natural human may be a relic. The enhanced may dominate society, shaping culture, politics, even morality itself. Some may live twice as long as us. Some may never face disease. Some may be unrecognizable, both in body and in mind. And for the first time in history, humanity will not face extinction from outside forces, but transformation from within. Will this be the birth of a new species or the death of the one we know? Global surveillance and total control. In 1984, George Orwell described a terrifying world where every movement, every thought was watched by Big Brother. At the time, many believed it was only fiction and exaggerated metaphor for dictatorship. But Orwell could not have imagined smartphones in every pocket, cameras on every corner, or artificial intelligence capable of analyzing billions of faces in real time. By 2050, the line between science fiction and reality may have vanished. The future of control may not come from guns or chains, but from data. And once surveillance becomes total, freedom itself may cease to exist. The rise of the digital panopticon. In the 18th century, philosopher Jeremy Bentham imagined the panopticon, a vopticon, a mobticon, prison where one guard could watch every prisoner without being seen. The prisoners, never knowing when they were being watched, would control themselves. By 2050, the world itself may be a panopticon. Every phone, every camera, every drone, every digital assistant becomes an eye of Big Brother. You may not see who is watching, but you will know they are there. And that knowledge is enough to change how you behave. The social credit future. Some nations are already experimenting with social credit systems where every action is tracked and scored. Pay your debts on time, your score rises. Speak against the government, your score falls. A low score may mean no travel, no job, no freedom. By 2050, such systems may expand globally. Imagine a world where your ability to buy food, rent a home, or even have friends depends on how obedient you are. Orwell feared fear itself. Huxley feared distraction. In 2050, we may face both a society that rewards compliance with comfort, while punishing resistance with silence. Surveillance inside the body. By mid-century, technology may no longer watch from the outside, it may live inside us. Biometric implants could track your heartbeat, your emotions, even your thoughts. Insurance companies may require them. Governments may demand them. Employers may monitor them. Imagine trying to lie and your implant betrays you. Imagine protesting and your implant shuts down your bank account. What happens to freedom when your body itself is a surveillance device? The end of privacy already. Digital privacy is collapsing. Every click, every purchase, every message is recorded. By 2050, the idea of privacy may seem like an ancient myth. Futurist Yuval Harari warns of digital dictatorships where artificial intelligence knows you better than you know yourself. Your likes, your fears, your habits, all used to predict and control your choices. Elections may no longer be about persuasion, but about manipulation. Algorithms feeding you exactly the information needed to bend your vote, your loyalty, your life. The illusion of freedom, perhaps the most chilling aspect of 2050. Surveillance is that people may welcome it. They will not be forced into chains. They will ask for them. Convenience will be the excuse. Faster payments, personalized services, safer streets. People will give away their freedom piece by piece in exchange for comfort. And by the time they realize the cost, freedom may be gone forever. A world without secrets. Imagine waking up in 2050 and realizing there are no secrets left. Your conversations recorded, your dreams monitored, your loyalty measured. The powerful will not need to silence you because you will have silenced yourself. Too afraid to speak. Orwell once wrote, "If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever." But in 2050, the boot may not be visible. The control may not be violent. It may be invisible, digital, and absolute. The Great Extinction of Humanity. Arthur C. Clarke once envisioned a future where humanity reached for the stars, guided by knowledge and hope. But not all futurists shared his optimism. Some believe the greatest danger we face is not failure to expand, but failure to survive. By 2050, the convergence of multiple threats may bring us closer to extinction than ever before. The web of threats, unlike ancient civilizations that fell to a single catastrophe, Rome to corruption, the Mayans to drought, the Egyptians to invasion. Our century may collapse under the weight of many crises happening at once. Climate collapse, rising seas, unlivable heat, and dying ecosystems. Nuclear war, weapons stockpiled for decades, one miscalculation away from detonation. Pandemics, not only natural, but engineered in labs with unimaginable potency. Artificial intelligence, Machines out of control, pursuing goals beyond human. Survival. Asteroids or cosmic events. Rare, but always looming, waiting for the wrong alignment of chance. Each one is dangerous alone. Together, they form a web of destruction. Pull one thread, and the others may unravel too. The doomsday clock, the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists maintains the doomsday clock, a symbolic measure of how close humanity is to self-destruction. In 2023, they set it to 90 seconds before midnight, the closest it has ever been. By 2050, the clock may have already struck 12. Imagine a world where sirens echo across continents, not for drills, but for reality. Imagine nuclear fire spreading across the sky. Imagine nations collapsing under famine while AI systems continue to hum, indifferent to the dying hands that built them. Stephen Hawking once warned, "We are at the most dangerous moment in the development of humanity. We now have the technology to destroy the planet, but not the wisdom to escape it." The fragility of civilization humanity often believes itself eternal. But history disagrees. Civilizations rise, shine, and fall. The Romans believed their empire would last forever. The Mayans carved their glory into stone. The Egyptians built pyramids to outlast time itself. All are dust. Why would we be different? Futurists like Jared Diamond collapse, show us that societies often destroy themselves by exhausting their resources, ignoring warnings, and clinging to arrogance. By 2050, we may look in the mirror and realize we are repeating every mistake of history, only this time. The fall will be global, not local. A world of ashes writers have painted visions of this collapse. Mary Shelley, in The Last Man, described a plague that left humanity desolate. Cormac McCarthy in The Road showed us a father and son walking through a burned world, searching for scraps among ruins. By 2050, those visions may no longer be fiction. Imagine cities reduced to silence, streets filled not with traffic, but with wind carrying dust, skyscrapers standing like skeletons, monuments to a species that dreamed too big and cared too little. Extinction by choice. The greatest terror is not that extinction may come from forces beyond our control. The terror is that it may be our own choice, our neglect, our arrogance, our refusal to change. Carl Sagan once said, "We are a way for the cosmos to know itself." And yet, by 2050, the cosmos may watch as its only self-aware voice extinguishes itself in silence. Conclusion: the shadow of tomorrow. And so we return to the year 2050. It is not a distant science fiction landscape. It is a mirror waiting for us to step into it. Artificial intelligence may surpass us, leaving us obsolete. The climate apocalypse may drown us, starve us, burn us. Genetic engineering may divide us, replacing humanity with something unrecognizable. Surveillance may enslave us, turning freedom into illusion. And extinction may erase us, leaving only ruins where our voices once echoed. But here is the final truth: the future is not written. Orwell's nightmare of control, Huxley's nightmare of distraction, Asimov's questions about machines, Clarke's dreams of stars, Dick's doubts about humanity, they are not prophecies. They are warnings. The year 2050 will be what we make it. Perhaps dark, perhaps bright, but never inevitable. The choice is ours. This was Archives of the Future. Subscribe now, because what's coming next may decide the fate of us all.